I think in your typically very diverse array of backgrounds. And for those people who are not familiar with your work, there was a bit of an uprising on Twitter early in the Trump administration to get you appointed as head of the FDA.
Yeah. Well,
some friends that were putting in the Valley who were putting you forward and saying, listen, you want to shake things up in Washington. You want an FDA that's radical. You want an FDA that's going to do some crazy, wild stuff that's going to really push to actually solve disease and to cure people and to treat patients. Balaji is the guy for the job.
So, the thing is, I can tell you, I guess, I haven't actually talked about this before, but I can tell you, what that was like and what have you. So first is, I could have been deputy commissioner. So number two, that was on the table. But the reason I turned that down is several reasons. First is, I had 10 years in technology. I understood the industry and so on. But Washington is something where it's a shooting gallery. And, if you don't have 10 or 20 years in the swamp, it doesn't matter. You can't really proceed on pure merit. You need connections and so on and so forth. With that said, here's actually, what I would have done is minimum necessary change at the FDA. If you want to know what my plan would have been on the first day, okay?
Yes, very much.
All right, so my first day plan, first thing I would have said is to everybody, look, almost everybody here, your job is unchanged. I'm actually not the crazy radical libertarian-ish guy you think I am, okay, number one. Number two, I would like to give you all a raise, but I can't do that just because of federal pay schedules. However, what I will do is make it feasible for everybody to work from home. And there's actually stuff around this now. Of course, that's being totally legalized due to Corona and so on. But there's stuff around expanding work from home and whatnot. And the reason that work from home is important is it's kind of like giving people a raise. They don't have to drive. They get more hours with their family, all that type of stuff, right? Optional, of course, but would have been a big thing. And the third thing I would have done is I would have basically set up an exam for the top 1,000 people, let's say at FDA, to come in by examination and set up regional centers for fast-track approval of medical devices, drugs, vaccines, et cetera, in collaboration with local governors and mayors, and also, internationally renowned universities. And this is actually what's starting to happen with these, with these compacts that are happening, like the Western States Compact or the Midwestern Compact, the Northeastern Compact, the Tri-State Area Compact, where you'd have, for example, Columbia and Cornell working with New York State, or Harvard working with, the Northeast, or Mayo Clinic working with the Midwest, or Stanford and UW working with the West Coast, and you have essentially local competing centers of excellence that are trying to get things through, such that you're actually subjecting regulation itself to controlled trials. That had not been done.
Interesting.
Okay, right? So the point is, everybody talks about controlled trials, but there hasn't been a controlled trial for the regulation itself, which is the meta kind of question, right? So applying science to regulation itself, we need to actually have a jurisdiction with a law, without it, to actually see what the effect of that law is, right? And so that would have basically been what I would have done. And, everybody who wanted to could have still kept the original FDA pathway. But those who wanted to opt into this new kind of pathway could have done something where, let's say, they pledge 10% of their equity to, the state of California or the Western States Compact, so that the citizenry get a benefit. Maybe it's 20%, maybe it's 40%, okay? But the thing is that venture capitalists, entrepreneurs, many of the folks who get into this space are actually not money motivated. They're motivated by making a difference. And if you could get something out to the public years ahead of time, people would give up profit in order to do that, because it would mean lives saved. And so I think that there's room for change there that I don't think is being exploited yet, and it hasn't been taken advantage of. And hopefully some of these Western states can do it. Okay, but coming back around all the way.
That's one of the first times I've ever heard you speak publicly about that.